the Honourable Prime Minister actually coming down the main stairway.
I think there will even be the opportunity for, let me say, image taken, because I don't want to say shot,
Right.
or video footage taken of the Prime Minister of India, possibly at the top of the stairs?
Possibly. I think, I'm not sure what a goodly cameraman would do, but yeah, I believe so.
But we're trying to get everything to the individuals tuned into this broadcast. And even when we were looking at some of the people waiting, I saw someone looking, it seems as though he was in a Ram Leela costume. But here we have our Prime Minister, who is getting ready to greet Prime Minister Modi.
Yes.
The Honourable Kamla Prasad Bissessa. And we see a gift of flowers that will also be presented to Prime Minister Modi.
Yes. That is the aide, Captain J. Richards.
And even like the saying, I was there at this point in time. I think this young man is forever going to remember this as a point in his life.
Yes, yes, I agree with you.
So we're getting ready to see who next will be disembarking. You see there is a measured approach. I even like the mix of the gentlemen, because I believe this young man is a performer. He's been on 12 and Under as well on TTT.
Okay.
We have Minister Sean Sobers, Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. I'm seeing, I believe this is the Indian High Commissioner, as well as the person in charge of protocol at Piako airports. On the carpet to greet Prime Minister Modi. And yes, it does look as though the unheralded work was quite successful.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
And the fact that there's so many incremental nuances placed in, it makes me even wonder whether or not there might be a reason that we have some people who are on the red carpet, some people who aren't. But or is this me overthinking?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure with respect to the amount of persons on the red carpet.
So we'll be looking at positioning, where the half guard will be.
Yes.
Where Madam Prime Minister will be. Because we also have members of the cabinet as well.
I'm seeing that. So DK, just to inform our viewing public, or the viewing listeners as well, a quarter guard or a guard of honor, it symbolizes, it's a form of symbol and respect and tribute. It is used to honor dignitaries, heads of state, royalty, fallen soldiers, important guests. It represents the highest form of military respect. It also displays discipline and precision. From the time the guard commander calls his word of command and the soldiers or the defense force personnel execute their drill with precision, it shows that level of professionalism, discipline, and coordination. It's also cultural and historical. Once a state visit, its honor represented and shown to a foreign leader. It's also used in opening of parliament, as we would have seen a couple of months ago. National pride. It also expresses the democracy and change of power. Diplomacy is at show. It is a diplomatic gesture that grants respect, goodwill, and strengthening of bilateral relations between two states.
And it's interesting the levels that diplomacy can run at. There are things that you see in terms of what we're seeing now.
Yes.
There are also things that you don't see.
Yes.
And sometimes those unheralded, to use your term, things that fly below the surface that so few people know about, have such far-reaching implications and effects.
Yes.
So we see some members of the airport authority getting ready almost at the forehatch.
Yes.
So we're waiting to see when it opens. And who's the first person to disembark from the front of the plane?
Well, I am not aware of that, but I can, if I'm to make an educated guess, it may be the Prime Minister's chief of protocol.
Okay, but at this point in time, we see that members of the Trinidad and Tobago cabinet, they've been escorted by a protocol officer to form the greeting line along the red carpet. And the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, the Chief of Protocol, and the High Commissioner for India, they apparently will board the aircraft.
Right.
So we're looking forward to see that at this point in time. Elements. And let me also mention the fact that you see how those flags are rippling in the breeze.
Yes.
Now, we would have done a site visit earlier to make sure that things are the way they're supposed to be.
Right.
And that breeze is nothing to sniff at. So just looking at the fact that wanting to represent themselves well,
yes,
sometimes you see that slight side to side, which is also a form of helping to maintain balance as opposed to just trying to remain static with it. I remember you said there's a trick you do
That's
sometimes
the trick of the trade, yes,
in terms of
heel
moving
to toe. Yes,
heel to toe
yes,
inside your boots.
Yes, inside your boots, but you don't do it too quickly because that's one of the close arrest charges. One of the close arrest charges would be forms of close arrest would be idleness on parade. So if you're moving, if you're idle, we have this statement that we say if a fly lands on you or a mosquito lands on your face, you say let it feed. You're not to touch it because you'll be in violation of that standing order. And you can be placed under close arrest.
You'll say these things and hurt my feelings sometimes.
It's not a hurt feelings part. It's actually part of, again, what the military represents, which is precision, discipline. This also here is part of the highest representation that any soldier can give to a head of state. And if you look at it, if I'm to draw a number of dots, all the dots make up, close dots together make up a solid line. If I'm to do that, this aspect here, if I misrepresent or I'm idle on parade, I am going to destroy the entire picture that someone has of Trinidad and Tobago and put a stain on the diplomatic circle of which I am carded to uphold.
And just looking at that point, I think that is one of the things I'm going to take away with regard to this broadcast as well, in terms of that those series of dots, you put them close together, you get that solid line. So everyone has a part to play.
That
it
is
might
correct.
be different, it
Yes.
might be varied, but at the same time, all hands on deck, as some people say.
Yes, because if the pioneers from the pioneer department did not lay the carpet properly, it will have also presented a form of disrespect. If all the members of the Air Guard suddenly turned up unwell and we had no one to do the the guard of honor, which would have been, that would have hardly ever happened. It all plays a part. We all have a role to play.
We're looking at the roles that are being played at this point in time as the members of the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago are awaiting. And it is interesting because Prime Minister Modi was carded. The plane was originally supposed to reach a little later, and then we
Right.
heard it was reaching earlier.
Right.
And then it felt as though it found this golden mean.
Yes.
So, and part of these things can be checks, because, and how important are those checks? And one of the things I appreciate about the armed services is the way that things will be done real time to get the incremental time down to the second.
Yes. It's really important, because if we take and act like everything, like what we're doing is extremely serious, it's going to reflect on the real day. So that's why you have rehearsals and dress rehearsals, and you walk through the entire thing. You make sure that you rehearse correctly. You, as the guard commander, will recite your word or commands in your head or even loudly, because you don't want to make a mistake. And the most important thing, one of the most important things, is to ensure that you put on a good show, and you represent well, because it's going to be put down in history that you were the guy, and nobody wants to be that guy.
And the thing is, sometimes those things live so much longer and they have so much more legs.
Yes, than the actual truth of the day. One mistake may actually cause mar the entire visit, and that's why we want to ensure that we have a proper execution.
So we see more movement, and it seems as though this is another group of individuals who have come from the
Yes.
rear of the plane.
And there are things that you won't see as well too. The Defence Force at times will also be responsible for transportation, and arms of the Ministry of Defence will also be part of transporting some of the dignitaries, some of the assistants from point A to point B. And that's part of the unheralded work, part of the dots you don't see, part of the things that you would not know. In short, we have a shot of the colors, the Air Guard colors.
I'm not used to seeing them by themselves.
That's correct. Yeah, yeah.
And
I
this
mean, we are currently Piaco. The Air Guard is stationed at Piaco International Airport, UCAS station, Ulrich Cross Air Station.
There we have that door being opened. More checks being done. And we will expect the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, the Chief of Protocol, and the High Commissioner for India to board the craft.
Yeah. Seen that happening.
And they would have actually done so in that order as well.
Yes.
And it always brings you in a little more to hear natural sound.
Yes.
But we would have spoken to the situation because you're actually hearing some of that breeze at this point in time. Is that one of the vehicles that
is
you were
correct.
speaking about?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, we just had the High Commissioner for India. Then we have Minister Sean Sobers, Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, disembarking. Now have the Chief of Protocol. And next we should see the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
Correct. Once he disembarks the plane, you're going to see the Prime Minister of India take a position at the saluting dais. The guard commander will order the general salute, present arms. The general salute fanfare will be played, the national anthem of India and the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
And there we have the man himself.
Historic moment as his feet lands on the soil of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, we have that first exchange with the Honourable Kamla Prasad Visesa presenting a Prime Minister Modi with a bouquet of flowers. And then we have young Mr. I believe it's Zaydan. And there he's posing for a shot. Possibly admiring his attire. I can see that Prime Minister Modi has a sense of the occasion as well, and he's even directing individuals to where they should be posing with him for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
I totally agree with you.
The Chief of Protocol just introduced Prime Minister Modi, and was this to the captain?
This is to Captain Naval Don Polo, commanding officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. This is the saluting dice that we were talking about earlier.
And other members of the Prime Minister's entourage would have exited the rear of the aircraft.
Yes. National anthem of India. They're currently the guard commander has just ordered arms, shouldered arms, and ordered arms. The guard commander will march up, salute, and report to the Honourable Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, and invite him to inspect the guard accompanied by the Chief of Defence Staff representative. Guard commander will now escort the Prime Minister of India to inspect the guard, along with the Chief of Defence Staff representative, Captain Naval Don Polo.
And looking at the bilateral relations that this visit is supposed to engender and develop, it is very interesting. The song that is being, or should I say it is quite apt, the song that is being played, One Love,
Yes.
by Shadow. So Prime Minister Modi is now being introduced to the government MPs
Yes.
by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. You see everyone trying to get that one shot.
The $1 million shot.
There we have the Igbo rhythm being played by members of the Malik folk performers. We should also see cultural display
Yes.
by Shiv Shakti dancers and the Malik folk performers, who themselves have a very good working relationship together,
Yes.
showing us what we can be as a people.
The expression of Trinidad and Tobago, I would say. sensation of pride, nationalism, that nationalistic kind of just joy inside. Do you feel it?
I do. I'm also looking at logistics.
Okay.
And I say logistics in the sense that I can imagine Prime Minister Modi almost having an internal clock saying, okay, he wants to spend the exact amount of time
Yes.
by both aspects of the cultural display.
Yes.
And now he's being greeted by the 100-person diaspora contingent who are gathered on the carpet. I'm also looking at the work being done by members of services,
Yes.
head on a swivel,
Yes.
making sure that no one in their charge and their care.
Everyone has a role to play. Part of adding up to the dots.
Yes, sir. It's very interesting what you see in a broadcast like this versus those million-dollar shots where we get a curated view.
Yes.
Or we get an idea of the person behind the lenses vision at that point in time.
Right. Yes, that is very true.
And sometimes it's just the opportunity that they had because that is the space that they were in.
Yeah.
It's also such a display of stakeholders that have to come together to make an event like this happen. As Prime Minister Modi is getting ready to proceed to his vehicle,
Yes.
the motorcade. And even looking at the logistics at this aspect of the proceedings, because you would have individuals who would have just met Prime Minister Modi on the red carpet, been introduced to him, having to leave in advance to make sure that they're there to greet him when he arrives.
Yes.
And I guess that would be part of the reason that we had some places closed to allow for, hopefully, easier movement of traffic.
Yeah, I would think so.
And
the infrastructure is already in place for us to execute that. So I believe that could be one of the reasons why.
And the lights on the vehicles also help.
It's an added on feature.
One that has usually worked quite hard for, as we see the flag of India on the vehicle.
Yes.
They spoke of pride, and sometimes we think that pride might just be in individuals who are in the armed services or some aspects of the defense services. You see these gentlemen part of the Airport Authority of Trinidad and Tobago, making sure that nothing ill takes place under their watch as well. As we still have the joint display of culture between Malik and Shiv Shakti.
Yes.
And once again, looking at the fact that this is taking place in conditions where, one, they're standing, as we see the Prime Minister taking off to be part of that motorcade, heading to where he's going to eventually meet more of the diaspora.
Yes.
Because at this point in time, on the tarmac, it was just 100 members of the diaspora. So we invite you to stay tuned to TTT Limited, where there will be more the opportunity for more members of the diaspora to see him closer.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, DK. This was a historic day that everyone who witnessed it, who participated, who was in front, who was behind, they must be proud of this day. I would say a job well done to all persons who would have made this day a success.